it is for all of us. So I guess that police should be firm and serious in enforcing the law and order, because the problem of demonstration and the method and outcome, you know, you've just seen what happened in London. Worse situations could manifest themselves here, and even plunge our the people who are really engaging in economic activities to worse levels. So I just pray that we look at ways of building this country, ways of building this economy, ways of contributing like we are doing here. I mean, if each one of us went on the streets and we started running around, maybe what we are doing here is more constructive and we are playing a positive role. Regarding the economic crisis, I think definitely we do have issues here. There is an article which I'm writing for publication, and I was raising issues to do with you know, collective effort, because this kind of problem we are having, specifically like the sugar problem, is an East African problem. When you go to Tanzania, they are having serious shortfalls in their demands regarding the capacity that they have of production. When you go to Rwanda, it is a much bigger problem. When you come here, it's a problem. When you go to Kenya, it is a problem. And many of the partner states have taken on the intervention of calling for the waiver of the common external tariff to ensure that then sugar is imported without paying taxes, which could also be abused, because it could easily be abused. You end up having no revenue because you've waived, and then when the people bring it, the mechanism of ensuring that they sell it at the level that you want them to sell it may be a bit of problematic. In Rwanda, actually, the government has put a ceiling, but they're having problems enforcing that, and you end up spending on enforcement and creating more. So that is something that needs to be looked at, because it is a good intervention, but is it sustainable, and will it bring the desired effects that one may want to have? So my argument is that maybe at a point like this, we even need to go beyond our small individual economies and look at the bigger picture, look at better ways of coordinating and harmonizing and having collective effort in times like this, because it is a problem across. We are in the common market, and under normal circumstances you'd expect that partner states do export to various partner states, because we are all having different levels of capacity in the production of sugar, but all of us are saying, look, no, you don't have to export. And that defeats the whole essence of a common market, where freedom of movement of goods and services is supposed to be guaranteed, and where you are supposed to have competitive edge leading to lower prices because other players are in place. So it may be a much bigger problem that may need bigger intervention beyond even our borders, which we may need to look at from regional perspectives. And even when you get to the economies themselves, because we are together to try and sort out some of our problems, I would wish to see a situation where our economic gurus within the region sit together and say, look, this is beyond Uganda, this is beyond Tanzania. What do we need to do within our region and be able to fix this problem from a collective perspective? So those are some of the ideas that I'm looking at, because some of our fragmented efforts work counter to the general and bigger strategic objective, because this problem is not Uganda alone. It is regional, it is global. So the approach should go beyond the simple dynamics within a given economy, and look at other external factors and other variables that may have an effect in terms of changing and creating the kind of situations that we see across the region and across the continent and the globe at large.
Imam Eid Kasozi.
Yes.
The economy is not doing very nicely. Sugar went up, prices have come down a little bit. Now the shilling is hitting 2,800.
Okay, I will come to that, but I also want to make a comment about the statement by the Minister of Security.
Briefly, yes.
To me as a person, I'm not surprised. Since 1996, I have seen the worst of him, and just saying terrorism is not enough. He is the one who introduced torture chambers, which he called safe houses, and probably he's planning to bring them back. But we are watching, and I know sometime he even played a trick. He wanted to make some of my colleagues probably look like terrorists. Call them in a hotel room, they are talking, all of a sudden somebody comes under the bed, half naked, and we are surprised. So, me with Mr. Mruni Mukasa, I am not surprised when he states this. But he must know.
And you going personal?
He must know this is our country. He must know that I know several people who were tortured during that time, people who were locked up in toilets, people who were locked up upside down, people who were hit by telephone. So if he's coming back to do this time, people who use the electricity to electric shocks on people during his time, if he has come back to do that this time, people are moving a step ahead and they are watching him, and I am advising him, because I can't warn a minister, but I'm advising him as a concerned Ugandan that he should retract his statement and then say something else, because he himself, the people he's ruling with, one time committed terrorist acts.
Let's move on to that. Let's talk about the economy.
But we should appreciate that terrorists also exist. So where they are,
it's all right.
Why did they come up? Let those of us who are not terrorists talk for ourselves, but you don't talk for any other person.
I am saying, let me tell you, let us not camouflage, hide behind certain things in order to terrorize our people, thinking that we are protecting the rest. That is not acceptable. And I am I'm not surprised because of this man, because he has done it before, so he wants to do it again. But we are watching.
Okay, go
and I have seen worse people than him who failed, and they are no longer in power. Okay? Yes, they are not in power.
They came and went.
Yes. So the other economic thing, it is not a surprise. I have said it before. I want to retaliate it. When there was the economic crisis in other parts of the world, we were told here it was not coming here because people had not studied the situation and they did not see the pace at which. The whole idea is it was here, but we take time to see it. Me as a business person, because I do business, I saw it a long time ago. The amount of money I'm spending every day whenever I open my workplace and the amount of money I earn. Okay, I have now ended up, my reserves are the ones paying rent, are the ones paying salaries, not profit. But I keep opening. And I was telling my boys that when I come next and I'm finding this performance, I'm going to close down because I cannot sell my property in order to sustain subsidies. So this business, somebody has said it, and I want to say it again, that they lowered, for example, sugar went down.
Yes. Because
I have been facilitating people who are fasting, and I have been buying sugar. I bought sugar the other week at 250, 270, and even when it went to 290 a sack. Then 2 days later, sugar went to 160. I even bought sugar on that day.
Yes.
2 days, 1 day later, yesterday I went to the same shop. I find sugar had again increased from 160 to 190. But the whole idea is, the people whom you are calling investors in this country are siphoning money from the country, and they are not reinvesting it in the country. Therefore, it is bound to be like this. Then the product, the ordinary product that I produce, my pineapple, my orange, my mango, is not given its value. But
why?
Go to every village, you will find there somebody selling airtime.
Yes.
Okay? Meaning that every individual in Uganda almost is paying tax, and because, but then the government praises MTN probably for collection, but because they don't pay. So until we reach this stage whereby we say, what is the problem? He's talking of the collective responsibility, common market. There is no common market in East Africa. I move across these borders. I have not seen something called a common market in this, because if there was a common market, the Uganda shilling would be Uganda shilling works only within the boundaries of Uganda. If it goes beyond, therefore Busia, Kenya, Malaba, Kenya, but when you go 10 kilometers from Busia,
I'll ask you what is its value.
So that means
that the common market is not a physical thing, it is the population of East Africa.
No.
And regarding the currency, it's the monetary union that is supposed to do that.
But the same thing, if you have a common market, therefore the currencies would be okay at different levels.
Well, maybe the two are different.
Acceptable.
Well, maybe the two are different, like you explained.
Those are different things.
They had the customs union, they had the common market.
market.
The third one is the
monetary union.
But common market, if you have a common market, what are you using?
Okay, let's
you use currencies.
Mr. Mayanja.
Yeah, we use currencies. It is the movement of goods and services from a geographical area.
This is my time.
Yes.
Edmond, we have to agree that we have a problem at our hands. Whether we call it global or local, we have a problem. For me, I think that the Ugandan economy is like a body, a human body, where organs have failed to function.
Go on.
And what you need to do is to build things to help them function.
Yes.
That's what the government should do now. And I'm going to really spend my time on remedial measures. What should they be?
Go on.
To me, I think the government has no choice now. They have to borrow.
Go on.
After that, they have to check their discipline. Monetary discipline.
Go on.
We have a problem. We shall not go to Kenya to solve the distortions in Uganda. We shall not go to Tanzania or Rwanda to solve the distortions in Uganda.
Let's assume we got the money tomorrow, borrowing. Of course, the government is already borrowing treasury bills and donors.
Then,
where would you put the money?
Then the money, you put the money where you require it.
Where do you want it to go?
In production.
Where?
In production.
Agriculture.
In agriculture.
Yes.
In value addition. There you will make money. You will be self-sustaining. But this business where you have a huge parliament, which is hugely paid, if you don't check that, we're in trouble.
Okay.
If you don't reduce on administrative cost, you are in trouble. What I think now government should do is really to sit down and cut our design our current expenditure according to the growth we have.
Right.
We need to readjust our economy, restructure it. The Ugandan economy is not a Ugandan economy. And Imam Kasozi said it.
Right.
If you have the 10 leading companies, companies in the economy, and they are all foreign, then you are in trouble.
Right.
Because your economy is like you're breathing to death.
But I think
therefore, what we need to do,
first
of all, let's structure the economy in such a way that, for example, in the major sectors of the economy, you have at least 5 Ugandan firms that are in there and they are major players. But look at the banking sector.
Yes.
The leading banks in this country are foreign, which means that whichever profit they make. Yesterday or the other day, Standard Chartered announced that they have made so much. They are but where is that money going? It's not being recouped back in the economy.
I think you made that point very clear. Of course, to give a parallel, South Africa refused to sell MTN, they stopped them. It's not owned by the government. They blocked the sale to Bati Airtel because it would lose its South Africanness. They still wanted it to be a strong South African company for various reasons, as a flagship company in black empowerment and so on.
But I think something that I want to...
Before we move on,
I do appreciate his view, but I think the problem is not having foreign companies in town, because even economies like the US, they are really thriving on foreign investments from China. I'm developing my point.
Yes.
So the issue is not having foreign companies. The issue is having in place strong regulatory framework to ensure that there is reinvestment and you don't allow
system like ours, you can't
and you don't allow people just to repatriate their earnings without replying them back. So a strong regulatory framework, and secondly, I think this liberalization that is almost too open. I think government control.
Liberalization did not start in Uganda.
Government control needs to be there in terms of strategic areas. I'm looking at areas like energy, some very specific strategy, not brought back fully, but have some control in order to direct the kind of operations to meet the strategic objectives of the economy.
And I think the government is trying to do that through the PPP partnership, and they're also bringing back UDC, Uganda Development Corporation, which was running the state-owned data. We have to move forward. Honorable Sebalu, before we move away from you, let's talk about the constitutional controlling and the trial of Professor Gilbert Bukenya. Maybe let's talk about Parliament first. Parliament seems to be getting its teeth.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm really happy with the work Parliament is doing. Parliament has, the 9th Parliament has brought with it some very intelligent legislators. There is clear evidence that they read the documents that they get, because the most important part of Parliament is when they are considering the policy statements of government. That is the time when you can check excesses, that is the time when you can redirect, that is the time when you can get the different sectors to prove their worth and to give value for money to the public. And the different cases we've witnessed where you see committees really taking on their oversight role in a very effective way by proving to the sectors that the kind of budgeting, the kind of figures, because there are many figures that they have put right, which were brought and were not adding up. Like the other day, was it yesterday, KCCA, the IGG, that is clear evidence that Parliament is alert. The MPs are doing their work, they are reading, they are proactive, they don't wait for events to come and then they follow. So in my view, they've started very well, and if they keep up that kind of pace, the civil servants will have a second thought, just patching up policy statements and bringing, hoping that the MPs are not reading. So they have started well, and I wish them well, and so far so good. It is very encouraging in my view.
Imam Kasozi, will this end corruption, you think? The president said there are a lot of thieves here. Do you think we shall reduce the number of thieves?
The corruption probably within the state, it can if people are worried about it. But corruption is not stopped by the state. I believe corruption can be stopped by me and you.
Let's talk about Parliament specifically.
No, yes, because these are legislators. They can even put the laws in place. But if the people are not believing in them, they are not taking a firm grip on it, it will not take effect. So Parliament, what Parliament is trying to do is that they want to demonstrate that they are honorable members of Parliament, which they had lost. Some of us were very critical of the previous Parliament. On this program with you, I called them hopeless people all the time.
The 8th Parliament or this one?
The 8th Parliament.
Yes.
They had no hope. So this one, it seems now it has hope.
Okay.
Then the second thing, are people not trying to sort out some of their other grievances?
Well, but they're doing a good job, and then you're confusing the point. Really.
I am not. because some people have certain things to sort out, and probably they are now saying this. But if they are doing it for the good of this country, then is it sound up for them?
Okay, you're beginning to read into their motives. Mr. Mayanja.
Don't impute bad motives on their part.
Yeah,
they are well intentioned.
We should give them benefit of the doubt. Mr. Mayanja.
Well, I will definitely give the Parliament a benefit of doubt, but I'm a bit apprehensive. I'm just saying that if really they mean well, they should start doing things and demanding them done. They pass their decisions, they should demand government
The leaders
results.
should be
Yes.
For example, last week I was very happy because the Democratic Party came out and said, you were playing with the economy. You went and procured fighter jets,
6 of them.
6 of them at an inflated rate. Explain to the nation.
Yes.
They came, the defense in the defense committee, I read in the paper, and they said, no, you can't say that this was borrowed. You want us to pay double. So we want you to go and rewrite it. That's very good. But I want them to go further and investigate the cost of those jets, because we have investigated and we found out that the best on the market of that type is only $45 million.
No,
And
I've seen documents from the manufacturers. They actually cost $53 million each of them.
Let's say that that's true.
Yes.
They bought 6.
Yes.
If they are 53, how much would that be? That's $318 million.
Okay.
Where is the rest?
Commission.
The government must
Commission.
explain.
Okay. Well, because of the time, we're moving on. Let's talk about the constitutional court ruling and the trial of Professor Bukenya, Mr. Mayanja, before we leave.
For me, I can only say that, it doesn't mean that when they say that go and prosecute Professor Bukenya, that is guilty. The question before the Constitutional Court was whether Professor Bukenya was immune or enjoyed the immunity of the president, and the Constitutional Court has ruled against that. Now it's up to the government to go down there in the corruption court and prove their case. Then we shall. But we still demand that even other people involved in these shoddy deals should face the law.
Really?
Yes.
One person is not enough?
He's not.
Maybe the other ones can be forgiven.
Or maybe. But
Honorable
I
Sebalu.
don't think
Yeah, like my colleague has said, I think this was an interpretation. It was basically an issue of interpretation, and the Constitutional Court did interpret that way, because there is a difference between being and being appointed. Because in our case, a vice president is appointed by the president.
Yes.
In some other jurisdictions where you have running mates, then you can enjoy part of that because you have a mandate of the people.
Right.
But when you are just appointed, and you can be disappointed anytime, because the running mate will be there for the entire term of office.
Right.
So even the president cannot do away with. So there is that distinction, and the interpretation was made in that respect. So the rest is how the court do it competently, and definitely by interpreting that way, they are not making a position that Professor Bukenya is guilty. He's still innocent, subject to further judicial process. So basically that was an interpretation case which was decided by the Constitutional Court, which has the mandate to interpret the constitutionality of anything within our jurisdiction.
Imam Eid Kasozi, the courts are very, very independent.
The courts, I have never said that they are not independent, but they just express opinions. That is an opinion by people. I have my own opinion. I don't really believe in much in what they say, because they will tell you according to their view. That's how they viewed it.
Right.
So we should not, that does not qualify.
Should not excite us so much.
That they are independent.
It's not excite observers.
No, if the real trial starts, it could be something else.
Okay.
So, but
Why do you think it could be? What
I am asking is that, sincerely speaking, we lost a big chunk of money.
Yes.
At the hands of these people called ministers and some government employees.
Yes.
We want to recover this money for the betterment of this economy. Because some of the problems we have now is because of that. So, I think let Mr. Bukenya be tried, and then it becomes a stepping stone for us to bring the others on board.
Okay. But
And
the
then
president said is innocent.
So maybe the question.
No, I don't take Mr. Museveni seriously on very many occasions.
Really?
Yes.
You didn't even vote for him?
I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't, because I don't vote for him, and I have never voted for him. I don't want to tell lies. But people vote for him.
There are these titles like you are Imam Kasozi,
Yes.
and President Museveni is His Excellency.
I know. I in some quarters I am also His Excellency, because
okay.
I act as
On
an
that
ambassador.
note, we have
And therefore,
on the note of Excellency, Imam.
those are just the titles. They
All
don't
right.
make a lot of sense. But what I would love to see Mr. President doing is for him to be sincere to this country and walk the talk
We have to,
that took him to the bush
On that
in
note.
1980.
oh,
That is all. Yes,
1985.
1980, when he went to the
He
bush.
left in 1986. We have to end here. Thank you very much indeed, our dear guest, Honorable Mike Sebalu, Uganda representative at the East African Legislative Assembly, representing the National Resistance Movement. Imam Eid Kasozi, lecturer at IUIU, also Muslim cleric, never voted for President Museveni, and Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party. Thank you for tuning in.
Did he vote after all?
I've been your host, Edmond Chizito. We'll be back on Monday. Up next, though, is the news in English. Have a blessed weekend.
Let's talk about the home of your dreams and how you plan to finance it.